Well, joining us to discuss this further from studios in Washington is, apologies, via Skype from Washington is Dr. Webster Tarpley. He's an author and historian. Dr. Tarpley, it's always great seeing you here on Press TV. Now, how do you quantify this whole phenomenon of trampling upon religious sanctities of Muslims, specifically at this point in time?
Well, I think you have to understand that this is a deliberate provocation coming from intelligence agencies, and I would identify two, perhaps three components. The first is a Mormon mafia inside the CIA, a group of Mormon high officials of the CIA who want Romney to become president, and they think that by having the kinds of events that we're seeing, they can make Obama look bad in front of the American public. We can call them perhaps the Brent Scowcroft faction. That was the Mormon who was the right-hand man of Henry Kissinger for so many years. And at the same time, we have to see Netanyahu, the prime minister of Israel, and his group in the Likud, and a group of neocons who have attached themselves to the Romney campaign. In particular, John Bolton looks like he's going to be the Secretary of State if Romney gets into the White House. So these two groups, and I would add probably the Saudis, probably the Saudi religious and monarchy hierarchy. And what they've done is the following. I think this guy, Sam Bacile, or Nakoula Bassely Nakoula, he seems to be a cop. But the thing about him is that he leads to a group that we know. He leads to Joseph Nasrallah, who runs something called Media for Christ. And Joseph Nasrallah became notorious about 2 years ago when there was a plan to build a mosque in downtown Manhattan near the 9/11 site. This guy Nasrallah, also a Coptic Christian from Egypt, became prominent. And once you've got Nasrallah, you've got this other group. There's a guy called Steve Klein who promotes movies. He's a Christian activist. You've got the Reverend Terry Jones, right, the infamous Koran burner. But then you've got some other people. Pamela Geller. Pamela Geller, I think, may be the key to this entire thing. She's a professional Islamophobe, very close to the Israelis. And probably somewhere in the background we might have somebody like Daniel Pipes, a professor who basically has made a career out of harassing pro-Palestinian professors at American universities. So it seems to me this group, they designed the movie. And at the same time, you've got Netanyahu coming out, I think, very blatantly saying the United States has got to go onto a path of war with Iran, and he wants a red line. Well, Netanyahu himself does not have a red line, but he wants the United States to have a red line. He wants the United States to be more Israeli than the Israelis. It's outrageous. And there's a big blowback against Netanyahu for interfering so obviously because he wants his friend Romney to become president of the United States, right? The two of them have been joined at the hip since 1976.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. I'm afraid we have run out of time. That was Dr. Webster Tarpley, author and historian there, joining us via Skype from Washington. Dr. Tarpley, as always, thank you very much for your comments here on Press TV.